Hello and welcome to Sutro Sidetalk, episode 176. I'm your host, Kamron Star, and with me is
James Seelig.
today is a day of victory and defeat simultaneously. Earlier today, I went to the Niners game, and it was really fun. We played the Dolphins. We beat the Dolphins, but during that game, our boy Jimmy G got injured and hurt his leg, and we're like, oh my god, he's out for a little bit. Maybe he'll come back during the game. And it says out for the game. We're like, oh shit, okay, fine. We'll see how everything goes. We have this new young rookie QB who is our final draft. He was the last draft pick for the last draft, like last dude picked and everything else. And his last name, his name's Purdy. And rookie first real game. His first game, he gets a touchdown, wins the game, interception, all within one game. So he gets his first everything pretty much.
Damn.
Yeah. So the kid
Not bad.
got a lot of good stuff. And we're like, cool, that's great, But all right, next week, we're playing Brady and the Buccaneers. Jimmy G will be back. Jimmy G's out for the season.
Damn.
Find out we're getting on the train to leave, and everyone's
how bad he hurt himself.
He needs surgery on the pretty much. And we're just like, fuck, we lost Trey Lance, who was our starting QB, like at the beginning of the season.
I forgot about that too, yeah.
And then we're like, well, we got Jimmy G now. And Jimmy G's doing great. He's doing great. We're at the top of our division. And we're like, cool. And now he's out. We're like, there's 5 games left in the season. We're at the top of the division. We have a rookie as our QB. This was not our backup. This is our backup's backup. And we're just like, we'll see how it goes. Cause it's pretty much, what was his name? Mr. What's the word when you don't matter? Mr. Unimportant. No, it wasn't Mr. Unimportant. It was Mr.
Insignificant?
Yeah, it was something like that. But now it's like, oh shit, now he's really important. And it's pretty much like, oh shit, we gotta bet it all on this kid. Hopefully he does good. We have like a really good offense and defense, but it just all comes down to this kid if he can do it, and it's just gonna be crazy. But woo, football. It's gonna be crazy. This is, of course, Sutro Sidetalk, and not a sports podcast, but instead a game, film, TV podcast where we talk what we watch and play. And yeah, guys, we have a more holiday fun episode today. We're catching up on some stuff, but really just knocking some things out because it's smaller stuff. We've got this week 3 things, really. The Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special or holiday special. I don't even remember what it's called.
I think it was Christmas special because it was very specifically.
It was very specifically Christmas, yeah. Then we've got the Destiny season of the Plunder wrap up pretty much, and then I want to talk about a game I've been playing called The Cycle Frontier, and then that'll probably be it. I don't know if we'll have time for anything else, but we'll just knock those 3 things out. If you guys want to support us, though, please, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review. Or Spotify, rate us, and of course, like besides subscribing on YouTube. But of course, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to, and share out if you can. That would be really helpful to us. Otherwise, we more or less got the rest of the month and the new year, really beginning of the new year planned out. We'll talk about that at the end of the show, though. No news this week, but let's get right into it. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. I think they said, what is it, the end of phase 4? Like it closes it out pretty much.
Weird, I guess. I mean, it's like unconnected to anything, so I keep forgetting that phase 4 is even like a thing because nothing seems to be like related.
I mean, it's very much just it's the transition phase, so everything feels kind of insignificant, but also still, ironically enough, it's that weird combination of it's insignificant, so it doesn't really feel big, but also everything's still attached, so you feel forced to watch everything, which is even comboing that doesn't feel good. Whereas at least when you were leading up with all the Thanos shit, it felt like there was more purpose that you're watching everything. Whereas right now you're just kind of like, oh, fuck. Or at least that's just me.
Well, even Shang-Chi had the thing at the end where it's like, these bracelets are sending a signal somewhere. And it's like, well, I guess we'll learn that eventually.
I don't know why for a split second you sound like William Shatner, like, these bracelets are sending a signal out somewhere. I hope Dragon doesn't come over and fuck
that'd be
up.
so funny if he showed up at some point, just like to do like an exposition scene. It's just
They
like,
paid me a lot of money to just,
yeah,
I don't know why I'm stuttering at the same time doing it. It's like a
he has a
weird
very
fucking,
like halting way of
yeah.
like talking about stuff.
I'll say, guys, because I was at the game, I was shouting a lot, so I'm actually shocked my voice isn't completely shot because the last time I went to a game, I had no voice at all. So that actually could
Yeah, it
be why
sounds
I'm
good better right
stuttering.
now.
Yeah, it actually works out. Uh, this special though, was like 45 minutes, about the same length as Werewolf by Night. It was
Yeah,
very stupid, but
yeah.
like in an entertaining way. Uh,
No,
I
I was actually surprised that like there were a few moments where I like actually laughed out loud pretty hard.
Yes.
Like not for a long time, it was just like a single like, ah, like that was funny.
Yeah, it did give me some laughs. Like that's the thing. James Gunn always gets me laughing a bit. I think for Guardians 1, it was the perfect combination of comedy and emotion of like dramatic stuff. And then Guardians 2, it felt like they relied way too much on comedy and it made the emotional things like it just kind of ruined them. And that's why I thought that film was probably one of the worst MCU movies, whereas the first one was one of the best. It's a weird opinion to have, I know. And then this one, it's just a dumb fucking special. Like I wasn't expecting anything big. I'm like, it's a Christmas special.
Well, like half of it was Mantis and
Drax.
Drax just get like wicked drunk and wander around Hollywood until they happen to find Kevin Bacon.
Steve just
That
fucking
was super
attacks
funny.
this. That was so stupid. I was like,
And
oh
it's
my
just like
god.
the whole thing where Drax is like he sees a dude dressed up as like a transformer or a GoBot. He's just like, "I'll rip your head off." It's like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm really sorry. A GoBot killed his cousin. Drax, stop being a bigot. What the fuck?
Because he's, you're labeling all robots as like if one's bad, they're
Yeah.
all bad. But I definitely got it. I
Like
thought,
later on, he's just like beating the shit out of the guy in
yeah,
the
beats the
background.
shit out of that thing. I wasn't sure if it was empty or if the guy was still in there.
Oh, he definitely. I'm pretty sure it was.
There was a drunk Mark Hamill cameo at one point. That was interesting.
I totally
Uh,
missed that.
yeah, he was in it. It was like after the whole Kevin Bacon singing, it shows like a couple people like sitting there, and one is Mark Hamill,
Oh,
that bearded
okay.
guy. Yeah, that was just Mark Hamill. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. Uh, it's there. A lot of people don't have big roles. It's mainly pretty much Nebula, and not Nebula,
It's
Mantis
it's
and
mostly Mantis
Drax.
and Drax. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's like smaller roles from like
We could give him the Zarg nuts, but you ate them all.
I did like the whole like sister aspect. I didn't see
That
that
was
coming,
like,
so that was
especially at the
actually
very end when like Mantis is like really like worried about like Peter's like, why'd you even do all this for me? Like you didn't have to go this like far to like try to save Christmas for me or whatever. And she finally reveals like, I wanted to do something nice because like I might also, I definitely am Ego's daughter, so that makes like me your sister. And he's just like, that's the greatest gift I could have ever gotten. He's like, that's adorable because
yeah.
again, now he's got family.
That's why I did like those aspects of this one because they didn't like layer it with some comedy portion right on top of it or right after it, so it felt very just kind of clean. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's very
there we
true.
go. That's what I wanted from the second one. And I'm like, cool. If they did this right, and James Gunn is saying like, oh, it'll be a little bit more mature in 3. I'm like, okay, I have higher hopes for this then. And otherwise, like, I mean, we got Cosmo talking in Russian. It was like the Russian
Dude, I
dog.
love that dog. That was
That was
cute.
great. Yeah, that was enjoyable.
It's just like,
Uh,
what's the point of using your telekinesis if you can't do shit straight? And then she just like drops the like stuff she was trying to put together and just like, I refuse to work for you and like while you're demeaning me, give me some of your treats.
dude, fucking Nebula. Like, you can't run from me, Bacon. Like, I'm
Dude,
gonna
that
shoot him, and it's like, don't
I
kill him, please.
I thought it was so funny when they're all exchanging gifts at the end and like she gives Rocket Bucky's arm.
That was so
I was
weird.
just
I'm
like, how
just
did she
like,
even
how the
get
fuck do
that?
you get that? Yeah, that was the thing
Uh,
where apparently a lot of people on Twitter were just like they took it way serious. Like, yo, that's bullshit. Like, that's not a thing. And I'm like, yo, this is a
it's just
really
a
stupid
fucking joke.
special.
It's a
Yeah, I don't give
callback
a
to
shit. Yeah,
when he was just like, how much for the arm? He's like, it's not for sale. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get that arm. It's like, he got the arm eventually.
yeah. It wasn't him actually getting it himself, but yeah.
Yeah.
And like it. I said in the beginning, it was stupid, and it was fun. Stupid. It was fine. And I think in fun stupid like this, I think it's okay to do something like that. Like, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it.
Like the whole premise just being like, apparently, I mean, it turned out to be wrong, but like apparently they thought that Yondu like ruined Christmas forever for Peter when he was a kid. So they're like, let's try to like, what can we do to fix Christmas for him forever? I know, we'll get one of his greatest heroes like for him. We'll go find Kevin Bacon and give him the greatest warrior, Kevin Bacon. And that like that was my favorite part when they find out that he's just an actor and he didn't actually like save a town by dancing and shit like that. And they were just like, oh God, he's an actor. Ugh.
That's so stupid.
It's just like it seemed like everyone hates actors. It's so fucking funny.
It was so random. I was just like, oh, okay.
It's just like pretend to be a hero, and he just starts speaking like with a British accent. Like, ew, no, why? Why are you doing that accent? It's like, because I'm a British soldier in World War II. He's like, no, just be Kevin Bacon, but not lame.
God.
uh,
Hey, can you like like what like I guess seduce him or whatever? And she
it's like
does.
take him out of the trance, and she's just like, just be normal, and he just starts breaking out.
If I let you go, you won't run, right? Cool. Ah! Just like immediately.
Just like I love that transition on Peter's face when he's like, oh wow, they did so much nice stuff for me. They put the lights everywhere. It looks so nice. It's like, oh, they got me like a huge present. I wonder what it is. And then it starts like shaking, and he's just like,
what did they do?
What did they do?
I did. I mean, of course, there were. I think. I guess 3 things of note here, that do lead into Guardians 3. First of which, Cosmo's with them. Second of which, Mantis is Peter's sister, so there's like kind of a new connection there, which I really appreciate. And third of which is they now run the Collector's planet or city, whatever you want to call it.
They seem to be like in charge of nowhere, or at least they're trying to fix it up again.
Yeah,
I guess after Thanos destroyed it.
Yeah, so that was very interesting, and I guess we'll see where that leads for the third
what was
movie.
the name of their ship? That's like the Milano got destroyed, so like.
Oh, I don't know. I don't
like there was another famous person, and like I remember laughing at like
was it a name of the famous actor?
Yeah, it was.
Was it like the Fonz?
Maybe
they talked about the Fonz. I don't know if that was a thing, but I don't know. Are you looking it up? You're looking it up, aren't you? Okay. I mean, we saw that trailer too for Guardians 3, so we kind of know Adam Warlock is coming. There is another villain that I already forgot who it is. To be honest, I just. I'm like at that point where I watch a trailer and I'm like, cool, I don't care. I'll just watch it when it comes out, and I guess I'll see if I like it or not.
It's the Bowie.
That's what it was. Okay. Fucking David Bowie. Christ.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But yeah, third trailer, we got that, and it looks fine. I won't know until I watch it, and I really hope that it's at least better than the second one. I don't expect it to be as good as the first one, but I think they'll at least do a good job with it.
It looks like they're insinuating that like someone of like the main Guardians group is gonna die.
Yeah,
and
which everyone's thinking Rocket.
I'm thinking Rocket because like they very recently in the comics, well, I don't know about very recently. They recently in the comics did a storyline where like Rocket was dying and he was like aware that he wasn't going to be like around for too much longer, so he like kind of went on his own little adventure thing. So maybe they're trying to work off
the most expensive character, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly, you should think about it that way too. But the whole thing is, we already know Gunn says once this is done, like they probably are done as well. Those characters aren't going to show up in other stuff. If they do, it might be they'll only show up for event stuff, I'd expect. I don't think they'll show up for anything else. There won't be a new Guardian group or anything, I don't think. And yeah, we'll see what happens. It's one of the movies next year, along with like Ant-Man and whatever else comes out. I don't really know at this point anymore. There was like a whole leak that shows like the next 6 years of Marvel. And I was just kind of like, oh, fuck. And I was like, oh, shit, X-Men in 2026. That's what I'm waiting for. Until then, nothing else matters, probably. But I'm just going to wait for this X-Men movie after the fucking Secret Wars King shit is over with. And I don't have to deal with it anymore.
I mean, I'm a little excited for all that, but I'm also like at least a little bit optimistic that we finally got like a poster at least for the Blue Beetle movie. Totally unrelated.
Oh, yeah. That as well. But
that's the one I'm most worried about, like just not happening. But
it's see. Coming. It's coming out. I'm telling you.
You keep saying that.
I mean, James Gunn is literally showing it off like, hey, while we're working on the new stuff we're coming out, I'm here helping shepherd these things that are already finished and like or like finishing up, and we're gonna make sure they come out, and we're gonna show as much love for them as we possibly can.
Yeah,
And
with him
honestly,
and
James Gunn is already doing great with DC just for the fact that he's actively communicating with people.
yeah, with him
Like,
in
and
charge
he
right
shoots
now.
shit down immediately, which I love as well.
Yeah,
What are you
with
saying?
with him in charge now, I like have more faith that the DC movie slate will like work, but
Yes.
we'll see.
And the whole thing, Peter Safran is like the producing on the side, and James Gunn is the creative on the side. So they're working
Mm.
together in that way. But at least looking at the DC stuff coming up, I mean, it starts off with the Guardians Christmas special, is the first DC movie special, and then we have Blue Beetle, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And if all of you are believing this, I can't believe I'm just saying stuff because it's James Gunn associated at this point. I don't know if you guys actually believe that I just said Guardians is DC, but if you did, shame on you. Yeah. Last thing, the song at the beginning told me everything about that special I needed to know.
Oh yeah,
That was
that's
that
so
was where I
fucking
was
funny.
laughing. I was fucking dying when he's just like, "Oh yeah, he throws shit at kids," and you're
Fills your socks with like
the
poop
fuck
or
is a
something.
turtle dove, and I'm just like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck?" Like that song was the most James Gunn thing you could have possibly done. Because if you guys don't like, I mean, if Peacemaker didn't tell you, the Peacemaker musical intro didn't tell you anything, I think this intro just solidifies it. And I always say, like, I like James Gunn a lot. I always have. I just didn't like Guardians 2. Like his other movie, check out Slither, guys. That's a fucking insane movie. Check out Super. Those are fucking great movies that are like overly violent, and James Gunn is overly violent, which is why it's hilarious. Where it's like Guardians is the most tame shit he's ever done, and like you see, like,
Yeah,
oh
possibly.
yeah, and you're like, oh well, he gets to DC, and they're just like, yeah, do whatever you want. And you see Suicide Squad and fucking Peacemaker, and they're just killing everything, swearing up the wazoo. There's just like dick shit, like there's just complete nudity and everything. You just don't they don't care, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is completely James Gunn. It's ridiculous. Man's never gonna probably get an Oscar, but he at least knows what some people want. Not all
Yeah,
people, but like a lot. Some people enjoy this stuff a lot.
he knows how to make a fun movie.
Yeah. But yeah, check out Guardians Christmas special. Just go in because it's at least fun where it's not it doesn't feel associated with anything else. So it's just a fun throwaway thing you could have fun with and not think about anything else. I will say really fast, I did watch one of the Iron Groot specials and
Yeah.
or shorts, and then I finished it, and then I said cool, and then I just I took all the 4 other ones off my watch list, and I said, nah, that's okay. It's if you got kids, it's probably fun for them. I was like, nah, this ain't for me, and I'm gonna save myself like 12 minutes
Speaking of Groot,
or 20
how'd
minutes,
you
whatever.
feel about his like current
Oh,
character
Bulk
model?
Groot.
Like, yeah, buff Groot. It's fucking weird looking.
It's weird, but I don't care enough
Eh,
to care about it. Like I'm just kind of like, yeah, he's there, whatever. It's Vin Diesel being like, I'm Groot.
I do love he got a Game Boy for Christmas. That was cute.
I did, and then I was also just like, y'all could have done better. We all know by this point in time, that screen you ain't gonna see shit. Like at
Yeah,
least get him a Game Boy Color or like a Game Boy SP. Like, come on, guys. You could I get the whole,
I think it's
nostalgia
just
thing.
yeah. Well, I also think it was supposed to be like a joke about how like Peter upgraded from like a Walkman to a
A CD,
Zune.
yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so in like the previous Guardians movies, like Kid Groot kept playing on those like shitty Tiger Electronics
Oh,
things.
that's right.
And so now
Yeah.
he's like the original Game Boy is like technically that is a step up from those.
It's playing like Super Mario and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like that. Okay, really fast. There was
If
the
he's not
bat.
playing Tetris in Guardians 3, then I'm gonna riot.
And Batman. Who is that? Bruce Wayne. No, don't do that. Kevin Bacon. He's just the Batman reference, and I'm just like, yeah,
I forgot about that. Oh my god, yeah,
yeah.
they did straight up do a Batman reference in this
I mean,
movie.
Marvel every now and again, like if you guys ever read the Mark Waid, Chris Samney run of Daredevil, at one point he straight up just like swings on his
Yeah.
little pole over a bus, and one of the kids in the bus just goes, "Oh, it's Red Batman," and like it's the funniest shit when you read that. It's ridiculous. But anyway,
They
yeah,
also referenced the God of War.
that was so fucking random. I was like, they're definitely talking about Kratos right now. I'm pretty sure
Oh yeah.
'cause that's so stupid. Yeah, that was
I do love,
PlayStation.
like, by the end of the day, Mantis just has, like, a arm full of cash.
Yeah, because of the I thought there was gonna be like one group of like the perform costume people being like, "Hey, you're on our turf" or something.
Yeah.
But obviously after watching Drax beat the shit out of Robot Man, like it was just like, nah. Yeah, okay. That was Guardians. Next up, we both, finished up the season of Plunder in Destiny 2, and it was very interesting. We got like a whole
Yeah.
thing of Nezarek, who's like a disciple and all this shit. If you guys like, shameless, not, I guess, promoting him, but my name is Bife because there's like a full explanation of it all and it's really good. But like, it's a disciple that's already dead. And we get like all these ruin pieces, and the whole thing is like, oh, hey, there's like new activities called Catch Crash and um
Expedition.
Expedition. And you are pretty much now captain of a pirate crew,
Yeah.
a Elixni pirate crew or fallen.
Yeah, you get,
And
like, a catch from, the spider.
yeah, and you get the spider, so you take his catch because the I love you the way you find him. He's just in a pod, and he's like, "Hey, who's out there?
That
You
was the
brought the
fu I
guardian?
totally
I don't want him to see me like this."
I totally forgot that's how the season starts. It's like, the Drifter is basically just like, "I need you to pick someone up for me." It's like, "Spider, this is where you've been hiding?"
I think it was a really fun story just because we kind of need it, considering we're in the middle of the fucking end of everything.
That
The light and the dark are coming against each other. The witnesses showing up, and some characters, we've seen some dark shit go on, and it's been pretty crazy. And you're seeing alliances build, but it's just like, hey, you want to be some fucking pirates and just like do some crazy stuff? And it's like, yeah, yeah, I'd like that a lot. And the
dude, that
music is
was
fun as fuck. The music is
oh,
great.
yeah.
Holy
Dude,
shit.
that was one of the funniest things in the beginning of the season was people joking about, like, comparing the first 2 seasons of this year to, like, the 3rd one, and it's like, season 1, like, take back the light from the Lucent Brood. Season 2, face your fears and your nightmares. Season 3, fucking pirates.
Season 3, plunder the booty of the corpse of Nezarek. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much the focus of characters around this time was Mithrax, Ido, Spider, Drifter. It was like those,
Dude,
and
Ida's one of my
Aramis.
favorite characters
And
now.
Aramis now. I mean, we got a lot of Aramis, and
Yeah, and
it
Aramis came
makes
back, you
you
were right about
like
that.
enjoy Aramis a lot more. She was unfrozen from stasis, and she's pretty much doing like she took back control of House of Salvation or what's left of it, and are like making alliance with just like rogue pirate groups, which are made up
Yeah.
of pretty much like Elixni and Cabal.
Also
And
interesting that she seemed to be, like, reluctant about it too, because it seems like she's aware that the witness, like, pulled her out of her stasis,
yeah,
and she's aware of how, like, unfathomably powerful the witness and her disciples are, and she's basically just like, "I was given a choice of serve the witness or die," and that's literally she's just like, "If I don't do this, I will die, and probably the rest of my species." So she's just like, this is she thinks that this is literally the only option she has.
yeah. And you get a whole thing between her and Ido, and Ido's trying to convince her. Ido is also like pretty much leaving her in a state that Mithrax put her in. You also learn like Mithrax was a ruthless pirate way back, and you
Yeah.
also find out that
To find out he
basically,
used to wield the darkness, essentially.
yeah, and he had two adoptive brothers, which was uh the Spider, aka what was his
Oh,
fucking
yeah, we
name?
learned his actual name.
It was
I don't remember.
shit. Yeah, but it was him, not only him, but the boss from Scourge of the Past.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I'm trying to freaking spider name. But how did you feel about the
Atrax?
season? Huh? No, it's
Was
like Sepix or Sevix or something.
Oh, okay.
How'd you feel about Catch Crash though?
I thought it was fun. I thought both the, Catch, Crash, and Expedition things were, like, fun little, like, activities for this season, especially, like I mean, it was nice that at least for Catch Crash, there was a little bit of variety to, like, what activities you did each time. Also, I'm, like, a huge sucker for all the, like, lame pirate named enemies. Like, there was, like, a servitor called, like, II or something like that, and it was, like,
Oh, that was
AYE
great.
dash I. Um, shit like that. Like, and I don't know, there's something about like starting off by defending the deck of your ship and setting up the cannons and firing cannonballs at the other ship and then like literally getting launched at the other ship to board their ship. I don't know, like I really did like that they leaned really heavily into the pirate theme and they do the whole like, take on other ships and like board them. Even if you're not literally doing ship combat, it's just like has enough of the pirate theme that it totally worked for me. And then expedition, yeah, just like the idea of like you're literally just digging up buried treasure in like places from around the solar system and just like throwing them into this giant sack of treasure.
Yeah, it was really cool, especially with Catch Crash, like the fact that it's like you're being boarded. All right, you stop the boarding. Now you go board, and like you go through the ships chasing their captain and taking them down, and the whole banter you get through this and
I
expedition.
really liked the banter. So like even like Ido being like, "Oh, cool, we fended them off. Like we can leave now." And Drifter's just like, "You don't know what pirates do you?"
Or the Guardian. She's like,
Uh,
huh? And then yeah, you see everyone just start killing everything, and she's like, oh wow. But
yeah,
or like her and Spider's conversations where he's just like, oh, you're so innocent. This is hilarious, and she's just like, I feel like it will change you by the time this is all over and whatnot. And I did look up. So Spider's name was Rakkus, and the other one was
right.
it was Civix or
Mm,
Civics. And yeah, he was the boss from like Scourge of the Past or like that fallen leader. And it's interesting, like, Mithrax is tougher than both of them and just kind of fuck them both over at one point. And you're just kind of like, damn, that's crazy. Like he was hardcore. Uh Otherwise, the story itself, I really appreciated the way it goes through. I
yeah.
honestly think they've really improved the way they've been storytelling, like ever
This
since Witch
honestly might
Queen.
be one of my favorite seasons in a long time.
Yeah, they've changed it so much where, I think it really started with Beyond Light. You start getting more of the conversation during these missions, or whatever activities going on,
Hmm.
and it's just kind of gone up from there over time. Like last year's was enjoyable, and then this year's was just even better the way it goes on. And even when the mission completes, or I guess the story finishes at a certain point, the dialogue in those activities change to
Yeah,
like post mission stuff, and you're just like, oh my god, it's still going. There's more to learn. So each time you do it, there is a possibility you get new dialogue you didn't get before, and it's really enjoyable. Not to mention the fact that like for Catch Crash, like they rotate through different uh I guess sub activities you do within the ship that you board.
yeah,
So it kind of keeps things more interesting over time. Not to mention, like,
yeah. It
doing
doesn't
it
get
on
too
master
stale too quickly.
difficulty is a lot more difficult, especially
Yeah,
with all the champions and how quickly you die with match game and stuff. Expedition itself too, uh, it was enjoyable, and I think the thing they got right with it too was the length. Neither of these
yeah.
activities were
Neither of
too
them are
long.
too long. It's really nice.
Yeah, otherwise, like, especially because they fixed what I didn't like about Season of the Haunted, where Season of the Haunted felt so incredibly grindy for the public event on the Leviathan. Like, you have to do so much to the point where I didn't even finish most of it. Like, I never finished a lot of the seasonal challenges from that one because there
And
were
you
too
played a lot
many.
more than me.
Yeah, and it was just so much, and I was getting tired of it. And a lot of people don't like it because it's the same thing over and over and over. And I think there might be like a rotating boss, but otherwise, like it's just the same exact location. It's in, where you start off in the Leviathan raid in the Castellum, and it's just exhausting.
Yeah, it was cool for a bit, but yeah, it did get a little bit stale like pretty quickly.
The several story missions were where it really was at, and even then, like once you finished them, you're kind of like, I want to do these again, for the most part. And this one, like I said, like these activities felt a lot more doable. They felt achievable. Even the seasonal triumphs and just regular triumphs for these activities felt a lot more achievable at the same time. Like, I still don't have the season of the haunted seal. I got the season of the plunder seal already, and it's called Scallywag, which is great. Uh, I think there's an improvement there, and I think Season of the Haunted could have been a good learning experience of, I guess, what not to do and what not to abuse in terms of like repetition. And otherwise, like, everything else was cool. There was a new fusion rifle; it was fine. I just got the masterwork for it, but there's not really much to say about it. Um, Otherwise, we got Arc 3.0, and
Yeah,
Arc 3.0 is
I had a lot of
really
fun with it.
cool. Yeah,
Like
I
I really liked, at least for the Titan, you get like a brand new melee where you like kind of plant your feet and you can like hold it down to charge and you just throw a bolt of lightning out, and if you charge it all the way, it does a shit ton of damage. But also just like um at some point I got like a bounty or something to specifically use the jolted uh
mm,
effect, and ever since then I've basically just stuck on that because like you can make like if you use the lightning grenade and hit someone with it, like it can arc to like a whole group of enemies and
oh yeah.
jolt them all, and like you can set up some really cool combos with arc now, and like it feels really aggressive and fast paced.
Speaking of fast paced, there's
Like
a
also Titans have a dodge now.
Titans have dodge. Hunters, I don't know if the Warlock the Titans could do it, but at a certain point the arc charges you so you can literally speed run.
Dude,
And
like
it's
yeah, like
fantastic. You're like speed sprinting and you're just like
yeah, when you're overcharged and you start sprinting, it's just like, oh, I'm so fast.
yeah, and when I say that like that's the sound it makes. Like it's so cool the way you speed up, and I do like that they now kind of made each of these subclasses a lot more
They feel unique.
yeah, they feel a lot more unique. And for the arc one specifically, they actually eliminated a branch for a super. Whereas like I think there's still 3 for solar, there's 3 for void, there's only 2 now for arc, which is interesting because maybe they can
Hmm.
adopt something new for it. I don't know if it is for the Titan. Do you still have 3 or 2 supers available for the Titan?
There's only two, I think, but
Yeah,
like
they so for hunters, the
I don't
2
remember there being a third super for Titans though. Like it was either Fist of Havoc or like launch yourself like Superman.
there were 2 Fists of Havocs though. There was like 2 versions of them,
Oh yeah,
and
I think one
there
was
was the
like
missile.
yeah, I think one was like it does more damage if you fall from a high point, and the other just lasts longer, I
Exactly.
think.
And one came with seismic strike and the other didn't, which was like
Yeah,
the shoulder charge.
that's what it was.
And for hunters, all 3 were the arc staff. Like one was, I think, high
Dude, now you could
duration.
throw your staff and it's like fucking broken.
Exactly. Like one was high duration, I think, and the other was like a shorter duration. One was like you could twirl and like basically deflect everything. This new one basically said all 3 of those are just one now. And it's just like you do the regular like smash, and you could do like a range just like shot of like you can do like a swipe up and it sends like an arc jolt forward that can kill an enemy with a little bit of range. It's not too far, but it works. And you could still do the deflection, which is really dope. Like it's like the Jedi deflection without it like ricocheting the enemies. And now, yeah, it's the fucking spear thrust where you throw a spear, it lands and it creates a full like shock radius that keeps killing everything, and it'll like it's really well done for PvE. And then PvP, if they just like get out of the way and miss it, you're just kind of like, fuck. It's a little bit like Blade Barrage, but Blade Barrage I think has more of a reach and range, whereas this one is just very
Mm.
much just like in a Blade Barrage will spread in that like area that you're sending it to, so you can kind of like layer it farther out as it goes. Whereas this one is just like, yeah, it's just a little circle. So at least for Crucible, I was noticing like it's better to stick to the arc staff, especially if you're like trying to reach an enemy and they're shooting at you. You could just like deflect it as you go. Whereas this one works a lot better for DPS against bosses, and you know, the arc staff regular one is better for ad clear and everything else. But the cool thing about this, though, is when you launch it at something and it's something big and doesn't necessarily die immediately, it sticks to them because you just basically impaled them with it. So they could be running around and it's just stuck on them, and they're just like sending that circle around them. The more they run, especially if there's more ads running around, then it's just like kind of comboing with the rest, and you're just kind of like, this is most good, most good.
Mm.
I do like the change, and I do see the unnecessariness of, I guess, so many different arc staff combinations. Otherwise, you know, having the new grenades, like this is the thing that's always killed a lot of hunters is Warlocks and Titans usually have better grenades. And now for this one, like we have one that really is like the storm type grenade, I think. And then the one I think we still don't have is that fucking chain one, where it just kind of keeps moving and chasing you, especially in Crucible. Like some Warlock, I think I don't know if Titans have it, but I know for sure Warlocks have it. And they'll throw it and it just chases you, and you're just kind of like, how long does this thing fucking last? Because they keep running from it and it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's a good time though.
Axion Bolt.
Maybe it was that. I'm not.
No.
No, I don't think it was either one was Storm Grenade. Storm Grenade might be the stationary one, but there was another
I
one.
think Storm Grenade is just the one that like calls
Yeah,
down
it's
a
like
bunch of lightning
boom. Yeah,
strikes.
that's the one I started using as a hunter. Now that we have access to it, but there was another one that the warlocks use that follows you. I don't remember the name, but it's a crazy grenade. Otherwise, Arc 3.0 I've really enjoyed. I think they're doing something to the Hunter Crucible Void subclass for next season though. I can't remember what it was. Otherwise, yeah, cool activities. The story, like when you go and unlock like a hidden a hideout. I was going to say a hidden hideout, but a hideout from one of the captains. Like you go there, and that's where you get the relics of Nezarec, and that was really cool. Kind of learning more story beats as well from there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also nice that those weren't very long.
yeah, they were pretty short too, and like we had Festival of the Lost. That was fun. I honestly prefer the Lost Sector format over the Infinite Forest format still. I do think that we've done it a couple times now. We might need another new version now. Like I think doing the same thing every 2 years is fine. I just think after that, it's good to then change it again to something new. Just keep it a little bit fresh. Otherwise, you're just kind of like, oh, it's festival again. But you know, it was cool. Otherwise, I'm trying to think if there's anything else for this season. Anything of note to you that you thought about?
Mm, no, it was a fun season, and just like I liked that. Yeah, the activities were fun to do and didn't take too long, so it didn't get old. And yeah, just the story to it was super cool.
Yeah. Same here. And otherwise, I felt like a little bit less inclined to dedicate so much time just because I feel like time is getting harder and harder at certain points in terms of like having to invest into this game, especially if you're playing other games, whether they're multiplayer or single player, and like in my case, both. So it's just hard to like balance everything. And you're like, do you really want to do everything? Like, I think the base person probably just does the story stuff. Like, you just do the story stuff and then bounce,
Pretty
right?
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I at least made sure to do enough of the seasonal challenges where I can get the big bright dust bundle because I'm like, I guess in my mind, I'm like, I want my money's worth since I paid all that money.
Yeah. I always want to do that, but I never end up like spending the time to.
It took a bit, but the three I didn't do because it's like there's three you don't have to do was GM Nightfall, which I think this is the first season where I didn't do a Grandmaster Nightfall, and then in a while honestly because I'd get Conqueror and then Guild it, but there was that, and then the ornaments for the legendary weapon, which is a grenade launcher this season, which was a cool one. Uh, it was pretty much I think the Vanguard and Gambit ornaments for it. I didn't do because Crucible was easy. I did the Iron Banner seal or most of it, dude. Okay, really fast. Iron Banner was torture. Because like you do instead of they changed it now instead of bounties, you get like 4 bounties, for your character, and you have to do all this stuff during Iron Banner. They changed it to now it's like pinnacle challenges like you would with like regular Crucible, where it's like, oh, play 3 rounds and you get the pinnacle engram for the week and stuff. For this one, it's the same thing where they're like, oh yeah, do 3 rounds of it, and then they did just increase it by like 1 each time. So it's like, oh, do 3 matches, and then for the next one, do 4 more matches, and then 5 more matches, and then 6 more matches. So you end up doing like I want to say like 18 matches per character if you want pinnacles for all 3. So you're doing a lot. You're like 18 matches is still a lot for Iron Banner, I think. Um, it's either 18 or 16. But the thing is, though, you could do that, and one of the things in the seal is to reset your rank twice. Luckily, the seal doesn't go away and doesn't carry over. It doesn't reset. The only thing that would reset is if you guild it, and I didn't get that far yet, and I don't know if I plan on it. But like, let me put it this way: like the grind to just do 1 reset in that 1 week of Iron Banner, uh, it had like I guess bonus valor. I don't know if it was double XP or not, or if it was just a slight bonus. I was able to reset my valor rank twice and get halfway to a third reset of valor in that week doing Iron Banner, and I did the pinnacle challenges, so 18 matches with all 3 characters each. So
yeah, when you do it for all 3 characters, then it gets way too much.
yeah, and guess what? I didn't hit the reset rank, so I had to do a little bit extra to get
Yeah,
it done.
that's too much.
That is too much. The reputation grind for Iron Banner reputation was the slowest progress I've ever seen so far of like these. I think the only thing it comes up with is Banshees, because Banshee also, like, it's stupid how many things you have to dismantle, how many bounties you have to get from him to get like his reset rank, or like to get to level 16, which you'll get an Ascendant Shard and a, what is it, the Ascendant Alloy, I guess, the alloy you need for like reshaping weapons when you craft them. And then the Ascendant Alloy, you put with like a, when you want a masterwork, an armor piece or whatever. But most of the time I never get them. This season I didn't get it. I literally got to like rank 14 out of 16 for Banshee, and I still didn't get it, and I had fucking cleared my vault like 3 times of like extra shit. And it was like getting maxed to like 600, and I'd cleared out to like 450. So I'd get like 150 things out of there or something like that. And I did that like 3 times, and still it was like, yeah, you don't have enough to reset with Banshee. I'm just like, what the fuck? So Banshee's slow, Saladin's ranking is horrible, and I hope they do something about it for the next season, because it's ridiculous. Like, don't make us fucking kill ourselves just to do this, because imagine then you have to do 2 resets, and a lot of people did that in the first season. That means they either did all of that in the first week, so they didn't have to do it in the second week, because there's only 2 Iron Banner weeks in a season now. So they either did it in 1 week, 2 resets. That is probably between 1 to 200 matches of Iron Banner in a week.
Oh my god.
Or I guess, okay, maybe that's a little bit crazy, but it's around, it's close to 100 matches. That makes more sense. Sorry. Because if it's like if I was doing 18 matches with 1 character and then did it with all 3 characters and still had to do more, and that's what, like what's 18 times 3? That's like
I want to say 40.
I'm like doing math in my head. Oh, that's like 54 matches, right? I think.
Oh yeah, 54.
Yeah, 54 matches. And see, I could just still do math in my head. I'm not a fucking idiot, or at least not a complete idiot. 54 matches, and you still didn't get the reset. So then you do 2 resets. That's at least 108 matches plus all the extra ones I had to do. So that is well over 100 matches to do 2 resets in Iron Banner. That's fucking insane. Like, come on, guys. That's pretty fucked up. Please don't do that much again. Like, it should be a lot less. And there's no bounties now, so there's no way to do anything else. The only way to do it is literally just keep playing it and hopefully win your match. That's the only way to keep boosting up your fucking reputation. That's insane. But I think they are doing some skews, because they said like Trials of Osiris isn't coming in the beginning of the new season, and they haven't said when Iron Banner is going to come back yet. We'll still get like the 2 weeks of it, but I think they're doing some more I guess like modifications to it. So I hope they're fixing it, because yeah, like I said, that was insane. Otherwise, yeah, I'm kind of at this point just doing like the seal finishing. I'm just trying to finish the seals for things and get like all the different weapon shapes I can get. Not like multiple of one weapon, but I'm just trying to get like each weapon unlocked. And I've done everything for Risen, but I'm at the point where before Beyond Light comes out, or not Beyond Light, Lightfall comes out, I still have to finish a bunch of stuff in Season of the Haunted. I have a minor amount of stuff to do in Season of the Plunder, and I still have a bunch of stuff I need to finish in Witch Queen, plus this new season. But I'm going to figure out how to balance that with new single player games, plus like Hunt Showdown, and soon to be fucking Call of Duty Warzone 2.0. And last thing, I guess, next season, dude, did you see it's gonna be Rasputin?
I've heard about it a little bit. I haven't really looked into it much. I haven't looked at this week's TWAB yet.
Apparently there's gonna be new Seraph weapons, and Warmind cells are gonna come back. So we could do like, those little fucking things that blow up and shit. That'll be good. But it seems like we're gonna finally see, since Season of the Arrival, what's going on with Rasputin, which we've gotten hints, like we know he was turned into an engram. Anna Bray's been working with like both Elixni and Scions to figure out what's going on. I think specifically Scions, to actually figure out how to do stuff with Rasputin. But I think we'll get him, either he has a body now or we're going to get him a full body in this season. We're going to see potentially some stuff with Osiris because he's apparently big with Lightfall, because he's the one that knows about the location of the
Yeah,
new
because apparently he got to learn.
civilization
Yeah, he got to experience all of Savathun's memories as if they were his.
before she died.
So he knows. Oh,
Yeah.
right, that's true. He knows the things she doesn't know anymore.
Yes.
Oh.
So that's going to be really interesting. I don't know how much Osiris will get this season, but at least we know we'll probably get Anna Bray,
Yeah.
maybe LC Bray. Who knows?
Yeah, I've been wanting this storyline for a while because like back when Beyond Light first came out, there were like lore book hints that like in the dark timeline, Anna
Yeah.
Bray did rebuild Rasputin when like everything fell, and she basically like put his what was left of his like code into a frame, and like so that was like always in, I guess since then that's been an option of like Rasputin could come back as like a physical form. And
Yes.
so like I've wanted to see that, and I'm so excited that it's actually going to happen.
Pretty much. And I think at this point, the way I always go with the, like a new season is what I want is for whatever the oldest character or plot point that hasn't been addressed be addressed. Like for a while it was Aramis, and before that, like for Beyond Light, finally give us back both Varix and the Excess Ranger, and then we got like Crow, Ultron becoming Crow. So like all these things we were finally waiting for so long, we're like getting. And at this point, it's now Rasputin, where we're like, oh my god, we've been wanting Rasputin. And I think besides that, like the characters we haven't seen forever that it'd be nice to get back is like, well, one specifically, I think this could be a fun, maybe, Nessus and Failsafe can get because she's also a robot. I'd like something with Failsafe. You guys could do something with Devram, maybe. Hawthorne. Like Devram, Hawthorne, I feel like could use some retouches. Varix, it's been over a year now. Or it's been close to it. Yeah, no, it's been over a year, yeah. So something with Varix, like all that kind of stuff. But I think the number one I want to see back again is Failsafe among all of them, for sure. Maybe we'll get some more Crow progress too. I'd like some Crow progress, because I think his whole, eventual rise to Hunter Vanguard has been building up over 2 years, over like around 2 years now. We're coming close to the 2-year mark of like when he came back in Beyond Light during season of the Hunt. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
But I think that's everything. And potentially last thing we'll see, because we're actually not even an hour in. We're doing really good. I've been playing a game for, I guess, 4.5 months now, 5 months at this point, called the Cycle Frontier. And this game is very much a Tarkov game. Like I've actually never played Tarkov myself. I have never really been too interested in it. Like that whole genre of go into a world, you bring in whatever gear you bring in. If you die, you lose it. And you try to get a bunch of stuff in that world and bring it out. And, you do everything from like upgrading your weapons armor or whatever, like creating new armor weapons and building up your little like base thing where it allows you to, I guess, like generate currency, increase your inventory, stuff like that. I don't know if that's actually what happens in Tarkov. I just assume because it's in Cycle. But this game is interesting because it does a more, Tarkov seems like kind of military style or survivor military. Like I said, I haven't played it. Cycle is much more of a sci-fi style one where it's like, oh, here's a planet that we colonized and a bunch of crazy shit happens, so we don't really stick there too much. But now there's specific, like, I guess, continents or islands or whatever that we try to go to get resources from. And it's like, broken down bases of stuff we try to establish there. And you go in from either solo, duo, or trio and try to get a bunch of stuff there and bring it out without dying to the wilderness there, as well as other players. And the first season was I got pretty much, I don't want to say dragged into it, but I got coerced into playing it by one of my friends who's actually been on the show, and because I'll be like, you fucked me over for the second season. But the first season we start playing it, and he's like, yo, come and play. So we were like trailing for a bit, and it's enjoyable. Like, it's very much like it, as someone that plays Hunt Showdown, I felt the similarities just via the importance of audio, from like, oh hey, sprinting is louder, even sneaking around, like crouching is still noisy. Only shoot, like, either if you don't care, just shoot to shoot, just know other people on the map will know what you're doing and potentially go in your direction or something, or it'll give away your position potentially. And there's like cues that will kind of screw you over, like when you fight in one of the creatures on the planet, they let out usually a big sound, and that's like a big old, like, if another player is nearby, they can hear that and go, oh shit, someone's fighting this thing, they're distracted, I can run over and potentially kill them. And you have that. You also have these fucking bullshit little winged creatures that'll just like pop up and be like, "Bah, bah, bah." And what's annoying is they'll keep flapping. So it kind of confuses you a bit, because at first you think there's footsteps around you, but it's like, no, it's these stupid little creatures flapping their wings. And then they finally leave after like a few flyover rounds. In Hunt, it's more enjoyable because, like the pros, you actually have a potential way to kill them, but also the proximity is not the worst to bypass them, as well as like there's traits that can help you be a lot more unnoticed by them too. Whereas in this game, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're close enough is close enough, they fucking go up. There's no way to stop them. It's just really fucking annoying. And you're just kind of like, well, I guess it doesn't matter. And you just start fucking sprinting, and you don't really care at a certain point. So I don't like the way they design these creatures, because there's no way to bypass them or stop them. And it kind of takes away that, I guess, free power that you could potentially have on this land, compared to like everything else, where everything else is killable. You can kind of be in more control and free willed to do certain things. The creatures in this game are very interesting when you're fighting them, because you have like these little guys called striders, and they're cool. Like, they die pretty fast if you use a melee weapon. If it's charged, you can kill them instantly. You can also sneak up on them pretty easily, like, and kill them in their sleep. But they do like this, they're kind of like dogs in Hunt for me, where they'll do this lunge, James. Like, they lunge forward, attack you, and then lunge back, and lunge forward, and kind of like lunge back. So if you kind of miss, it's annoying, because they could rapidly keep doing it. And even though they can die really fast, they can deplete your health if you don't get them in like fast enough. And if there's a bunch of them, you're just kind of like, oh fuck, and you kind of have to run for a second, or you just kind of say fuck it, and you just start shooting them all. If you start shooting them all, you're a little bit loud, but you're able to take them out pretty quickly. There's also rattlers, and they like spew at you. They like literally like throw up this fucking acid at you, and it's like a straight line once they do it, but it's burning. But they're easy kind of like to maneuver around, and they'll do that, or like this like melee jump forward every now and again. And then there's the fucking bastard themselves, the Marauders, which are these giant like lizard monster men that are bipedal, and they'll see you and be like, yo, if I catch you, I'm gonna fucking hit you, and you're gonna lose nearly like half your life just with a hit, or like a quarter of your life. They'll also shoot their acid spew at you, which is actually a lot more accurate. It'll just be like a fast like bleh, and that'll actually take out nearly half your health. Or they'll kind of take more time to cough up something that, like, once it lands, has a radius of just kind of like continuing damage while you're in its like spew radius area. And it'll just kind of keep harming you until you get out of it, which can be really annoying, especially if a bunch of creatures are trying to like attack you at once. I've just found like not dead bodies, but like all their gear and shit that they left behind after they die, because like they just couldn't beat the creatures. Like, I just find bodies of stuff and I'm like, cool, free loot. But I guess last creature is these ticks that either they'll just explode, or when they explode, they shoot out area of effect acid, and they give out like a thing when they start chasing you. They're honestly easy to kill. You just have to go loud usually to defeat them, or you just outrun them. But it's fine. Otherwise, like, they have like a higher tiered version of the other three. So like there's like these white striders that just take more damage. Same thing with the rattlers and the marauders. It's like, oh, here's the like armored or alpha version of them, and they're just kind of like higher. They're like the hard version, even though marauders are already hard depending on what weapons you have. But each one has their like weakness. Striders are just weak. Rattlers, if you shoot near like the eyes or the head, they go down a lot faster. You just have to fire in bursts because like they move all around a lot, so you can't like if you just keep firing, you're gonna waste a lot of ammo. Whereas marauders, like when they're opening their mouth to shoot at you, their mouth is the most vulnerable, and it's like a big orange, so it's a good like target reveal. And you just shoot at that, and I've seen like all of a sudden, I'm like, it took me forever to realize it because their actual body can just keep. They're like a bullet sponge practically. You could waste so much ammo. Whereas I stopped even fighting them when they were just like regular, and I just wait for them to like start trying to shoot something at me, and I just start shooting their mouth. I'm like, holy shit, I just did like 5 times the amount of damage it would have taken me just to shoot the entire time waiting for it to happen. So there's a good strategy for it. Otherwise, like, you deal with other players, and there's proximity chat that you can get into just for, turning on your chat and talking to them. Uh, if you're a solo playing this, it can be a little bit crazy because a duo could show up and fucking kill you if you're not careful, or just another player you could be like, oh hi, how you doing, and he just runs over and fucking kills you while you're trying to talk to him or them. Like it can pretty much be like anything goes. You can team up with that person potentially. I've had times where I find another player and we're like, hey, you friendly? It's like, yeah. It's like, what are you trying to do? I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing this other thing, but do you want company? Like I can help you, and we can actually take out the same extraction. Like a ship comes down when you extract at a certain, you get like 2 extractions on a map, or I'll get to that in a second, but like you can team up, do your thing, get off on the same ship, etc. And not be in the same group though. You just have to make sure you keep like press T to talk when you're within range of them and stuff. Other times you could do that, team up with the person. I've done it before. I teamed up with someone. We started running. I was in front of them. They just fucking shot me in the back, and I'm like, well, shit. Okay. Like, it can happen anytime where you go, hey, I'm coming out, and they go, cool, and then they just shoot you anyway. And it's like a whole thing of you violated the trust of something. So now maybe someone's more paranoid. That player won't be friendly next time, and now they're gonna not trust anyone and just shoot anyone on sight and not listen to what they're saying. Like there's times where you try to talk to somebody and they'll refuse. They're like, I'm just not gonna talk to you. I'm just gonna keep trying to kill you any chance I get. And it's like you get annoyed to the point where you almost get angry at the person, but you're like, this is how the game is. This is just, you can't get angry of the player. They're just playing the way the game is, and the game is anything goes, and you just have to deal with that fact. It's of course not like Hunt, where James, you played Hunt with me. If you die, if you're down, like you can potentially get revived by your teammate. You die in cycle, you're dead. You're just like kind of like, well, I hope you guys make it out and we could get back onto the lobby together. If you're lucky, you die, your teammate could like get your stuff as much as they can carry, get out, and then you go back into the game and they give you all your stuff back. So there's like kind of that upside of having teammates with you. One guy I played with and I died, and we became friends, and we jumped into a match together, and he was like, here's your stuff. And I was like, oh shit, thanks, man. Like, I really appreciate it. Like, that was really cool of you. Otherwise, that's kind of how the playing is when it's like player versus player. For extraction, like there's a thing where you have your map. The map has like multiple locations by name and everything else. There's different like environments a little bit, different buildings and whatnot, compounds, I guess you could say. There's 2 extractions on the map at all times in each map that you go on, and it's not the same for all the players. So like, whereas I guess a game like Hunt, James, you see like, oh, there's 3 extractions on this map for everyone. It's the same extraction. In Cycle, I could be extracting from, let's say, comms tower, and another player's extraction is power plant, and we each have another extraction, but they're all different. They can see my extraction still, so like when you extract, you get within range of like these beacons, and you like press Y, and the ship will eventually come down, and it'll be there for a little bit. Maybe sometimes all 4, like there's 4 doors on the ship on like all 4 sides, and sometimes all four sides open, sometimes two sides, sometimes one side. It's kind of different on the depending on which location on the map it is. But it'll open up and you can run in then. But James, if you do, let's say you run into the ship, someone could just be like nearby and be like, cool, and just start throwing grenades in and you just get blown up and you're like, oh fuck. Usually if it's something like that, you could just like throw a smoke grenade and wait till the ship's like a purple bar will appear and start like loading up to reach like 100. It doesn't say 100, but like you see it like moving up and growing, and it's like ship taking off. If you don't take off in time, the ship leaves. But if you get on like right at that perfect mark, you just run in. There's smoke. They can't see, but they're trying to shoot you. You get in, you get out, and the ship takes off, and you're good to go. You got your shit out, and you don't have to worry about it. There are times though where like I said, you can have that extraction even though it's only on the map for you or your team. You get there and another player is there and they could be like, hey, can I use your extraction? And you're like, fine. They could also get on that ship that you summoned and get off too and get out of the game. So it's kind of like a cool way they pull that off. Another aspect is like when you're in this little like you're in like I think you're on a ship, I'm pretty sure, when you're not in the actual match. And it's like, oh, here's the 3 different factions and their stores. You can buy stuff from them. You get the missions from them. And then you have like other areas like, oh, here's the crafting center where you can create new armor depending on what resources you were able to get and repair stuff and whatnot. But there's your quarters. And in your quarters, you have 2 little like kiosks. One is like, oh, you insured your weapons and armor. When you die, you actually get like a rebate. You get your money back for some of the stuff. It's not going to be as much as what you actually paid for, but you get money back. So you kind of at least don't get completely punished for dying in the game. And you can like claim these insurance packages. Otherwise, there's like, oh, you've upgraded a supply crate and you get a daily supply crate that gives you like, oh, here's some like low tier weapons and armor and stuff. Then you go into your like upgrade module and it gives you like 3 categories. One is your inventory, and you can upgrade your inventory. That way you can store more stuff in your base. But also 2, you have a safe pocket. And this is kind of a thing I think that's not, I don't know if it's in Tarkov, but it's not in the new Warzone DMZ that came out, where you can put items in your safe pocket when you're in the match. And when you die, because it's in your safe pocket, you still get it when you come back out. So even though you lost everything else, whatever's in your safe pocket is still there, but it's like a low amount of what you can carry. And you can upgrade like how big the safe pocket is, how big the inventory is for you. You can upgrade how much of the 2 currencies you can generate, the speed of generating, as well as how much your capacity is for them. One is just like, oh, here's the currency for buying everything and whatnot. And the other one is, oh, here's the currency for like, if you want to speed up the production of something, you can use that currency to like basically skip production time. And then there's like a third branch that's oh, here's the actual production time itself, and you can upgrade production time for things in the future. And all the things is like, oh, here's resources, and the resources are things you get from like lockers and drawers and stuff in the game. There's things you get off the creatures you kill. And there's things that are like only on certain maps, because like there's 3 maps, dude. There's Bright Sands, Crescent Falls, and the new one for season 2, which was Theris Island. And the thing with these maps is like each one is a different difficulty. Like Bright Sands is like an easy difficulty one. Most of the creatures there are like not the worst. They're all like easy versions of themselves, and like you have the harder versions that like specifically like one region in that like map. But also the map has like I think it's like 16 players can be on that map at once. And then or it's like 18 players. And then you have Crescent Falls, which is bigger, it's harder, it's got harder enemies, and there's a lot more of them. You can have like 24 players on that map, so it's a lot like crazier with what's going to happen. Like you're more likely to run into other hunters in it, or I guess prospectors is what they call them. And then Theris Island is the new one for season 2, and it's like only 12 people because it's a smaller map, but it's a lot crazier with like there's a fucked up thing where there's like a bottomless abyss you can fall into, and it's like, warning, if you fall into the abyss, the stuff you insured you won't get anything back for, so just don't fall into the abyss. And you're like, thanks. don't fuck up and fall. Uh, so you have two options of playing this game, dude. And I'll say the weapons are cool. You have everything from like assault rifles, pistols, SMGs, shotguns, like marksman rifles and stuff. Overall, like it's fine, but it's always buggy, this game.
Hmm.
I'll put it this way. Sometimes it'll freeze while loading and I have to like reload it. Other times, like how in a game when it starts kind of like lagging and you can't see what's happening to your player, you're like rubber banding and stuff, and you're just like, oh fuck. When this game fucks up, instead, like it might do that, but more likely for some reason, it fucks up with the audio, where the audio starts going in and out, and all of a sudden you can't hear something, and you're just kind of like, what the
Weird.
fuck is happening? And there was one point, dude, recently, like this past weekend, another player was coming in my area, and all of a sudden the audio was going out, and I'm like, what is he here? Is he coming north? Like, what's going on? Oh fuck. And I'm like freaking out, and I'm like, dude, this really fucking sucks. And it's in its second season in. There have been multiple updates for this game, but they still haven't like gotten these bugs fixed, and it's getting really annoying now with these certain like things that just kind of fuck it up a bit. And I think this game is a little bit more unapologetic, where I think if you get like disconnected or something, you lose everything that you had on that
Hmm.
player.
Yeah, that
And
sucks.
it doesn't return, at least like other games. Other games may allow you to reconnect too. I don't remember this one ever doing that. It's not as, I guess, forgivable, you would say. But the two aspects of playing is, are you playing with people or are you playing alone? And in the beginning of this game, I was playing with people and I was enjoying myself because I was playing with other people. And the game is interesting. Like this is my first, I guess, Tarkov style game where I think Hunt is like Tarkov, but it's also a lot different because it's a lot smaller scale and you're just trying to kill a boss. And the thing is with Hunt, it forces players to fight each other because you're all trying to get that bounty. That's the goal, more or less. Whereas Cycle, there's no boss, and it's just kind of take resources and get the fuck out. So you're
Hmm.
not necessarily as incentivized to kill each other. You still can, because other players might have loot that they just spent like, oh, I've just spent like 20 minutes trying to do all this shit, kill these high tier enemies, and I got all this stuff, and I'm going to extract. Another player goes, hey, you're dead, bitch. And then they steal your shit, and you did it all for nothing, which has happened actually fairly recently. And when you're playing solo, you're just like, oh, I'm going to do all these quests that they give me. They give you quests that are like, oh, collect these resources, go to this location, kill creatures at this location, or find a thing at this location where you just kind of see it. You either like, you locate it and it goes, cool, mission complete, or you like have to take a little item that's like a quest specific item that you normally don't pick up unless that quest is active. You take it and you try to get out with it, or it fucks with you and it goes like, oh, stash these items within like this like stash box in a specific location, and you have to basically not die with that stuff to get there, because if you lose it, you lose it and you have to collect that stuff again, or maybe hopefully you have a surplus of it. But you go and you stash it, you open the stash thing, you're basically in an inventory, and there goes like a big like and everyone in that vicinity can hear, oh, someone's stashing something, so they're not even paying attention to their surroundings. And you have to basically get all that shit in and submit it and then get the fuck out really fast. But those are the variety of like missions you get. Other things, like kill a hunter with this weapon, or any type of weapon, or whatever, a faction's weapon. And you do all these quests, and they give you experience where you level up with the factions, and the factions each have specific weapons that you utilize. And it's not a bad system. I enjoy it. But here's the big kicker, James. And I guess this is the same case with Tarkov, and this is something I get why they do it, because they have to keep making sure the player wants to play it the next season, because they have to like redo it. But it's like a kind of like, it makes you want to play more, or it makes you not want to play this type of game. When the season is done, all the progress you make is taken away. So,
Hmm.
oh, you've been doing upgrades to your base that you've spent all this time to do. It's reset back now to the beginning. You have to start all over. All of the stuff you've accumulated in your base, all the like supplies, weapons, armor, everything you got, it's all gone. All your currency you got, it's all gone. Everything your faction build up rate, like your reputation with all those factions, it's gone. The only thing that stays And even, dude, there's a season pass. The season pass gives you everything from weapon skins, character skins, like resource packages, all these new like it gives you resources. So necessarily like it here, I know these are like hard to get in the game, but here's a bunch like a package of these, or here's guns, here's armor. It gives you all this shit. All that stuff that for the pass that you paid for also disappears at the end of that season. The only things, okay,
That would drive me nuts.
half the stuff there. So the things that continue, the weapon skins you got, the character skins, so the cosmetics, so the only things that don't get deleted, and the specific current, there's like, I forgot, there's like a third currency, and it's like an insurance currency. That is the and that one you can only get from like, I think the season pass or something. I can't remember exactly how you get it. But it's like one that helps you with insurance, where it's like, oh, you can do this type of insurance, and instead of getting like a rebate, you can actually get your items back if another player doesn't take them. So there's a potential chance all that stuff you had, at least weapon wise and armor wise, you can get again without having to pay for it. But that specific currency also doesn't get taken away. So those are the only three things. Everything else, every season, you're back at zero. And I get the incentive is then like, you know, the next season you play again and you build up again. But like, you're, I guess, more doing it like, you know, it's the fun factor of it. You're doing it for the fun because you like the game. But at the same time, for something where you want progression and then your progression is taken away, it eats at you. It's like, what the fuck? Why am I doing this then? And when I found this out in the first season when I was playing this, I'm like, well, what's the point if now the people I was playing with, they kind of played on their, we couldn't always play together, so they played a lot like with other people or on their own. They finished their season pass, they upgraded everything they wanted to do, they stopped playing. And so here I am playing solo going, well, why am I doing this? And then I went, well, I paid for the season pass, I might as well finish leveling it up, right? And get my the skin at the end at level 100, which is actually kind of cool. But I'm like, but after that, like, what's the point of playing? And I'm like, why am I playing then if I'm not going to play anymore? Why would we even bother getting this skin? And I'm like, well, I should get my money's worth. And so it finishes, and then season 2 starts, and the weekend it starts, same friends are like, hey, we're gonna do it again. One specific one's like, hey, you guys should come and play again. Let's do it. And I'm like, oh, fuck it, fine, let's do it. Like, we'll have a good time with it, and I get the season pass again. We played for like 2 days. That weekend he didn't play anymore. And I'm like, I just spent like whatever, I don't know, like $15, but it's still $15. It's still money I spent. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? What the fuck was the point? And like here I am like, well, shit, that sucks. He's not playing anymore. My other friend is like just grinding nonstop, finishes his pass and goes, cool, I did everything, I'm done, and just stops playing. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, you just wanted to get it done to get it done. Like, I don't even know if you enjoyed it. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, well, do I want to keep doing this? And I'm like, well, I paid for the season pass again, I might as well do it. And one thing, I could be crazy, guys, I don't know if I'm right or wrong here, but I felt like the progress for season 2 was so much fucking slower. And the time it took, it felt like it was taking a lot longer. And not to mention the new map they gave was like, you couldn't go there like in the beginning. You had to unlock it over time. And with that, that was actually one of the things that Theris Island, like my friend that quit after the weekend, didn't like that aspect of it, where it's like, well, what's the point of doing this then? This isn't cool. And then Warzone DMZ came out, and he's like, yo, fuck this game, I'm gonna play that game. And they're the same people that got me into the game went, why are you playing Cycle on your own? That game sucks, like, come play this game. And I'm like, you were the one that made me. I mean, I did it myself. I spent money on this game by myself, but I'm like, then what was the point of me getting fucking season 2 of this game? And I like got annoyed. And you know, at a certain point, I kept trying to like solo play this and get my money's worth. And I got to like level 50, James, in the season pass. I'm like, I spent so much time. I'd finished like 3 missions and get like 0. I wouldn't even get like a rank up on the season pass. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why is the XP for this so bad? So what I did this past last, like, I want to say like 3 days or so, dude, I used up every armor and weapon piece, or like at least all my armor, and then most of my weapons that were like these high tier ones that I was saving. And I just started using them all, and I just got like killed. I'd kill people, whatever. And once I ran out of like all the high tier armor, I'm just like, cool. I'm only like 50% of the way through the season pass. It's going to take hours upon hours to get to 100. think I'm done. I'm gonna install this game and I'm finished.
Mm.
So overall, I think Cycle is a fun game. If you're into just like that whole reset aspect and you like just being a solo runner, I guess it could be for you for that, but it's not something I would honestly recommend. If you like playing with friends and stuff and you like it more than Tarkov, and it's like kind of that thing that it has aspects of Tarkov that you appreciate, then yeah, I'd recommend it over Tarkov. But like I said, I've never played Tarkov, so I can't really say anything else upon it. But the thing is now, Call of Duty, who, you know, they're, it's Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a fucking great game usually, and I know there was a long time where I didn't play it. I didn't buy Vanguard. I barely played Cold War, but I liked Modern Warfare a lot, the like new version of it from like 2019. And they came out with Warzone. They said, "Oh, battle royales are doing really good. Let's make our own." And what happened, dude? It's like better than all the other battle royales. I'm like, this is actually probably my preferred battle royale now, even more than Apex. And
Hmm.
now they went, that Tarkov stuff is pretty interesting. What if we made our own? And now there's Warzone DMZ, and they have their own freaking Tarkov version, and
Uh,
everyone is playing it. And I'm like, oh, Cycle, you've become obsolete to me. And all my friends are playing this. So I'm going to uninstall you and install Warzone 2.0. I'm not ready to buy Modern Warfare 2 just yet, but I'll at least do the free like install for Warzone 2.0 and do like Warzone and DMZ. So I'd say Cycle is cool, but I would try Warzone first because it seems like they've not mastered, but they've like jumped in. And this is a full AAA studio that has other AAA studios supporting it with Activision, and and all the shit with Activision, but like, they get shit done with Call of Duty. When it comes to Call of Duty, they get that shit done. And I think I'm gonna try it out. I'll come back to everyone at a certain point and talk about Warzone 2.0 and DMZ mode and see how it is. But from the way everyone's talking about it, I haven't seen this many people play this game. Like I've seen, I guess a lot of people have play Overwatch 2 now, but like this being vastly available and it's a free download, like fuck it, I'm gonna try it out, and it seems like it's probably gonna be better than Cycle, just from what I've been hearing. And yeah, Cycle not necessary for me anymore. Tarkov, never really had an interest in it, so I think I would just say try Warzone before anything else and see if you like it. If you do, don't even bother with the others at this point. So yeah, it's kind of like my Cycle review. And I've been holding on to talking about this game since I like finished season 1, which was like maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago or something. I guess 2 months ago at this point. But that's everything about it. Yeah. Whew, sorry. I guess that was, it was just like, oh, let me tell you about all this shit and complain a bit, and you just listened this whole time.
yeah, I was like,
Uh,
oh, this will be like 5 or 10 minutes. Like half an hour later.
yeah. But, there's a lot about it, and I realized like telling you about it. I'm like, you never played a game like this, so I guess I should talk about it a little bit, but a lot, yeah. That's all I got really. There's like some other small stuff, but I don't know. Do you think there's a point, I guess, at this point to talk about like Injustice 2, Mortal Kombat 11, stuff like that? It's kind of old at this
Maybe
point.
another time.
I mean, do you think it's even worth talking about at all at
Oh,
this
for
point?
sure.
Okay, yeah. But anything you want to talk about? We're at an hour 17, which is I think a nice short episode if we want to just end it
Yeah, I
here.
think we should just end it here.
Okay. So that has been Sutro Sidetalk, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed like, blasting through all this stuff. If you want, you can support us though. Please, like I said before, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, rate us on Spotify, and like besides subscribing on YouTube. And of course, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to or watching, as well as share it. Please share it with other people. Let them know about us. That would really help us out. Otherwise, you can send feedback to us at sutrosidetalk@gmail.com. Title of the show, sutrosidetalk@gmail.com. You can send us feedback, comments, or send us questions on shows that you want us to, or shows, games, TV, movies, whatever. If there's news that's recent, you want to ask us about that, our opinions, you can. Same thing, just email us at that email. Otherwise, you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Sutro Sidetalk, all one word. And you could follow James on Twitter at InvaderJim124. You could follow me on Twitter at GoGoComzilla, and it's all in the show notes. You can check it out on YouTube or Apple Podcasts, whatever you see the show notes on. It's all there, all the notes on that, where you can reach us and everything else. But this month, for the rest of everything else, next month or next week, we'll talk God of War Ragnarok. We'll hit up everything about that. Plus, I think the beginning we'll do like a quick thing of, or it depends, I guess, how many things we see. But the Game Awards, we won't talk about the awards itself, really, just the reveals we get from it. If there's any real notable ones, which I'm pretty sure there will be. Kojima, among other things, most likely. God of War, like I said. After that, the next 2 weeks, I guess the final 2 weeks of the year, really. I'm not sure which will come first, but the two other things we'll probably talk about is the Callisto Protocol, as well as Avatar: The Way of Water. And then at the start of the year, like literally like January 2nd, we'll come out with our 2022 in review show. Or like that first week. It's like the first or second, we'll put it out. Between the first and the third, we'll put it out. And we'll talk our top 5, like everything: games, anime, movies, television of the year, plus the top 3 of each of those categories we're looking forward to the next following year. It's not going to be as long as the 2021 in review we did, because we like listed off way too much shit, or I did, really. And so this year it should be potentially like at least like 30 to an hour shorter, if anything, I'm pretty sure, than what it was before. And yeah, we'll have a good time with it. But that's everything coming up. I have a lot of stuff just because it's been like a lot of going out recently. I got a lot to catch up on, like TikTok stuff, as well as working on the other shows. I think when we get to like closer to the end of the year, like right about the end, I'll do like a kind of full update on what's going on with all 4 shows. But until then, yeah, keep tuned in, enjoy this episode, and hopefully you did, and look forward to God of War Ragnarok. Catch you all later.
Thanks for listening.